Well, let me tell you about a product that I've been working on for 40 years. That's right. That's how long I've been studying grants and free sources of money and free services that are available to anyone who lives here in the United States. That's what's just so great about this country. And let me give you a little history about that, because 40 years ago, I had an MBA. I just had another business that failed in the computer industry, and I started being a consultant for Fortune 500 companies. And I would go around Washington and get them money, services, all these things for free that they would turn into billions of dollars. So really what I was doing, taking millionaires and making them into billionaires with free government money and other sources like that. And then I got sick of doing that and wanted to help the average consumer out there. Man, I grew up in a little town called Wilkesboro, Pennsylvania, and I didn't know anything about all this stuff, and I was shocked at all this stuff is available to anybody. And the rich people would hire expensive consultants like me to get it. And I want to help the average person. Man, this stuff is neat. It could really change your life. So I started writing reference books because that was the way the things happened, and they became very popular. I sold millions and millions of copies, and you probably, if you're around that time, you saw me on Letterman and Larry King and Oprah, and I had famous infomercials and all this kind of stuff, and did very well with it. But, what bothered me, they weren't good enough. These books, were just like big, telephone books that people had couldn't find out. And because, see, all I could give you were the names of the main offices in Washington, because that's where they originate. But what you really need is what's going on in your state. Because that's where it's at. And actually, what a little aside story here. My books became so popular. I don't know if you remember, but the 9/11 terrorist, Muhammad Atta, who was the leader of the terrorists, he bought my book. And this ran on ABC News and things like that, and went in to a local office in Florida to get money to buy a plane. That's right. He was eligible to buy a plane. They didn't give it to him because he was a little strange, but it really rocked their boat down there. So that's what I mean. See, even people come to kill us are eligible for these programs, and the rest of us don't even know they're there. So I've created now a single reference source where you could, find out right in your neighborhood where to apply to over 300 programs. This is grants, free services, loans you don't have to pay back, extra sources of income, all these things that are right there as a click of a mouse. So this is a one-stop center for you in your state that you can access everything that your tax dollars are paying for and then some. Because I cover everything on the internet too, how to use crowdfunding in this, the sharing economy and ways to make extra money that cost you nothing. Everything that I have in this one-stop application service does not cost you anything to try to get. That's right. There's no guarantee you get it. I mean, you have to go through the process. It's sort of like, you're getting a date in life. I can tell you where all the single people are and what time they're there and what to ask them, but I can't guarantee that they'll go out with you. That's where it takes you. But I get through all that other stuff that's why people give up. You'll never find these on Google. Google tells you about people who will charge you money for that. You need a grant? Well, if you put that in, you're going to get literally millions and millions of websites. People are going to sell you something on that. I show you directly to the people who give out the money. And the reason you won't find it in Google, because it's not even called grant money. You realize that 80% of the grant money the government gives out is not even called grants. So you're never going to find it. And that's why I've been dying to find out, because with my computer background, I know there's a better way to handle all this. And this is really something the government should do. But they can't, because these are government and the federal agencies, state agency, local agencies, and then, private organizations, nonprofit organizations that are all there. So I put them all in one, source for you to now have access to all these applications just in one-stop application service. That's what I call it. And that's all you need. And so I've done all the work, 40 years of research doing this. I've written over 100 books. I've won awards on all my reference books from the Library Association. I have 2 from the American Library Association. My books. I have 2 New York Times bestsellers and written columns for the New York Times New York Times newspaper and the Chicago Tribune and Good Housekeeping magazine. So I know this stuff better than anybody in the world. I haven't found it. You find somebody else, let me know. But it's amazing what's out there. See, the average, family has available to them. This is what the government gives out every year, an average of $21,000. That's in money you don't have to pay back the government. How do you know? They don't have advertising money. You go on Google and you're going to find all the people who spend billions of dollars advertising to get your money. These people give money, they don't advertise. So that's why now you have a one-stop source of all the applications, all in one place for you to start taking advantage of all the great opportunities this country has to offer.